Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Cowboys named ideal landing spot for elite speed WR. Despite a relatively stagnant start to the offseason, the Dallas Cowboys still have time to add a significant new weapon to their offense. While the team could roll with their current group of receivers, it only makes sense to bring in a new talent after the release of WR Michael Gallup. A new article from Bleacher Report NFL analyst Derek Klassen projects the Cowboys as a fit for former Georgia WR Ladd McConkey. McConkey is expected to be a first- or second-round draft pick in this year's draft and boasts an impressive skill set. Ladd McConkey is as polished and explosive a route runner as you'll find outside the top 10 in this class, Klassen wrote on March 28. But make no mistake, he is not a slot-only player. His best routes are comebacks, outs, and post routes from an outside alignment, routes that highlight his burst and snappy route transitions. He is more of a vertical Z than a pure slot player. A versatile receiver like that can switch off with Cowboys WR. Lamb on the outside sounds like a matchup nightmare. While McConkey doesn't boast the same numbers as other receivers in the draft, the tape shows that he's a serious prospect. Over the past few years, Georgia Brock Bowers has been the focal point of the team's passing offense. But the rise of McConkey during the 2021 and 2022 seasons was critical to the Bulldogs' second CFP national championship win. According to Sports Reference, McConkey debuted with 31 catches for 447 yards and 5 touchdowns. In 2022, he bettered his freshman season with 58 catches for 762 yards and 7 touchdowns. His final season in Athens, Georgia, was disrupted by injury, so his numbers dropped considerably. Still, his explosiveness was apparent as he averaged 15.9 yards per reception. What makes McConkey such an exciting prospect is the technical skill of his route running combined with blazing pace. NFL.com's draft profile shows that he ran a 4.39 at the NFL Combine and was ranked the 5th most athletic WR at this year's Combine. His breakaway speed is actually most apparent in his rushing numbers. McConkey took 13 handoffs at Georgia, averaging 16.6 yards per carry and scoring 4 times over his 3 seasons as a Bulldog. On March 25, Dallas head coach Mike McCarthy sat down with ESPN reporter Adam Schefter and talked about the Cowboys' offseason. As fans and media questioned the lack of free agency activity, McCarthy backed the organization. "I'm a big believer in the second to third year jump. We have some young players, we got some guys coming back off of IR that are young players that we're excited about, so we are definitely improving," McCarthy said. "We're just not part of the free agent market right now. Also, there's a lot left. You'll probably have a market right before the draft or post-draft, and then you got your June 1st market, and obviously we'll have another draft class." Essentially, McCarthy said the Cowboys are still open to free agency moves later in 2024. That may not be the most exciting answer, but it's a bit more perspective on Dallas' approach. Dallas Cowboys draft needs. QB isn't high on list, but there are a few names to consider. Quarterback is not a priority for the Cowboys in this draft. Far from it. This has nothing to do with the all-consuming conversation about the merits/necessity of signing Dak Prescott to an extension and its length. This has to do with this season and this draft. Framed in that context, the club would be fine if it didn't draft a quarterback. Remember, Dallas already has sent a 2024 fourth-round pick to San Francisco to acquire Trey Lance. Developing Lance is the focus after Prescott and Cooper Rush over the next few months, not picking up a quarterback late in the draft to plug into the mix. Using a draft pick on a quarterback is highly unlikely. But if the Cowboys decided to take a flyer, it's hard to envision that it would come before the final round. Dak Prescott, selected to 3 Pro Bowls at this stage of his career. More are on the way. Cooper Rush, nothing flashy. but a good, solid backup who knows the system and where to go with the ball. Trey Lance, as the number 3 overall pick in 2021, he has yet to live up to his draft promise. The Cowboys believe there's still time. Prescott hasn't led the Cowboys to a Super Bowl. He's not the most decorated or successful quarterback in franchise history. Those mantles belong to Roger Staubach and Troy Aikman. But he's done something those two have never done. Prescott threw 36 touchdown passes to become the first quarterback in club history to lead the NFL outright in touchdown throws for a single season. He completed 69.5% of his passes for 4,516 yards, with just 9 interceptions last season. His quarterback rating of 105.9 ranked second in the league. Prescott has a 32-8 record against the NFC East since entering the league. Rush threw just 24 passes last season as Prescott remained healthy. But he showed his worth the previous 2 seasons, guiding the Cowboys to 5-1 record in Prescott's absence. And Lance? This past season was about learning the language and helping on scout teams. This will be an important offseason for him to determine whether or not he has a career with the Cowboys. Prescott has shown he can win during the regular season. He hasn't translated that success to the postseason. Prescott owns a 2-5 playoff record for his career and has been unable to lead the Cowboys past the divisional round. He was dreadful early in the last 2 playoff losses to San Francisco. That's where he must improve. Carter Bradley, South Alabama, production increased throughout his career. Son of former Jacksonville head coach and current Indianapolis defensive coordinator, Gus Bradley. Kedon Slovis, BYU, finished with a 28-17 record for 3 different college teams. Recorded a 4.55 in the 40 at the Combine. Devin Leary, Kentucky, threw for 23 touchdowns and 10 interceptions for the Wildcats. Quick release and good footwork. The Cowboys start a top 10 player at the position, have a veteran backup who has shown he can step in and win when needed, and a young player to develop. This is not a position that ranks high on the club's draft radar. Cowboys' Ezekiel Elliott reunion just got one step closer. The Dallas Cowboys have watched as teams around the NFL have supplemented their rosters by adding quality free agents. The Cowboys have some holes along the roster, and a clear one is at running back. Tony Pollard signed with the Tennessee Titans on March 11, leaving Dallas without a bell cow. They resigned Rico Dowdle to pair with Deuce Vaughn, but that's not enough. On April 2, free agent RB J.K. Dobbins is visiting the Kansas City Chiefs and is expected to find a home soon. Dallas' lack of interest in Dobbins continues to open the door for RB Ezekiel Elliott to come back to the Lone Star State. Elliott has already expressed interest in returning to the Cowboys. Dallas needs another effective thumper in the backfield, and the 28-year-old can still provide them with a solid playmaker. In 17 games with the New England Patriots, the Ohio State product had 184 carries for 642 rushing yards with 313 receiving yards and 5 total touchdowns. The 2016 4th overall pick still has juice left in the tank and could immediately become the lead tailback in the backfield. Jerry Jones should call the former Cowboy and bring him back to town. Nonetheless, Dallas has one of the best rosters in the NFL. According to FanDuel Sportsbook, the Cowboys have the 5th highest odds, plus 1,300, to win the Super Bowl. If you like these odds, head over to FanDuel Sportsbook and take advantage of your sign-up bonus. And you, fan, what do you think of the situation of Ezekiel Elliott? Leave your opinion in the comments.